Hi everyone, welcome to this week's instalment of my Westlife memories. I had another golden opportunity to make some new ones this week when Nikki gave away their location in London, but sadly work got in the way. Sometimes I wish I was a poor student again. These are the events of the 3rd of December 2000, which was a day I was very excited about. We had got front row tickets for the last night of the Smash Hits tour in Sheffield, headlined by Westlife, but also featuring lots of other cool pop acts. But even better than that, my friend Sarah knew the after-show party would be held at the Hilton, and we were going to be staying there. She said fans that had stayed there the previous year had a whale of a time, so although the cost would make a serious dent in my student loan, it didn't take long for me to be convinced. Our day didn't exactly start well, as the first news we got from our craving friends was that Westlife had left London in a large purple tour bus. Instantly our hearts sank, as it looked like Blackpool happening all over again, and this time without any possibility of an airport crave. I tried not to get upset, but with a hysterical personality like my own, that was easier said than done. At least we knew it was the right hotel, because when we got there, a large group of young fans were gathered outside. In these circumstances, we were always terrified that people we knew would be among the group, and we didn't want anything affecting our credibility as we walked into the hotel that was supposed to be our ticket to the showbiz lifestyle. Ha ha. Our only excitement for the first couple of hours was a sighting of Billy in the lobby. Not exactly what we'd been hoping for from the stories Sarah had told us about past years at the Hilton Sheffield. And in spite of all our best efforts, a group of 4 teenage girls swanning around a 4-star hotel are rather conspicuous, and we'd already been rumbled by a lady on our corridor who moaned at us for talking excitedly outside our rooms. We later discovered she was very high up in the organisation of the Smash Hits tour. We left for the arena quite late because we were so desperate for everyone to see us as we walked all the way to the front row. Although we were right near the edge, this actually paid off, as we had a nice view into the pit area where a lot of the acts were standing before and after they'd performed. This included our first glimpse of the day of Westlife, or more specifically Cian, who was holding his adorable nephew right near where we were standing. The concert was great, and my main memories are of A1 and Ollie from now well and truly defunct boy band Point Break eyeing us up, and Girl Thing with a dubious song entitled So You Wanna Have Sex, which the Dutch frontwomen insisted on singing to us. Awkward. Halfway through the concert, the presenter of the whole concert came on stage and said that it was time for the bands competing for the Best New Act crown to come on. He then went on to mention that one of these were attempting to follow in the footsteps of other Irish boy band winners. Immediately my eyes lit up, and my friend's words were, "No, Claire, we said Westlife were going to be the last," but she might as well have kept quiet for all the good those wise words did me. The new band in question was Real, a 5-piece playing traditional Irish instruments and singing pop songs with an Irish flair. Seconds into their set, I had discovered that one of the twin guitar players, at the time I knew him as Colin / Joseph, but it turned out to be Colin, was in my mind the image of a boy I'd been crushing on when I was 14, so I was immediately hooked. Brian also came on stage to do some beatboxing with Richard Blackwood, so I guess we must have seen Kerry in the pit area watching him too, but I don't remember that really. I haven't actually taken notes of all the songs Westlife did, but looking at the moves and stools in some of my photos, I'm thinking If I Let You Go, My Love, and probably What Makes a Man. I did write in my notes that I got a lovely smile from Mark, and all the rest noticed us, but I was very concerned that this was all we were going to see of them on our very expensive trip. But the night was still young, as I continually convinced myself. When we got back to the hotel, it was clear that the security had been tightened, and as we walked through the doors, proudly displaying our keys as a means of entrance, we heard some girls whisper, "They must be girlfriends." Well, that was an ego boost if ever there was one. However, once inside, our plans hit a serious setback, as the door to the party was heavily guarded by Barry Knight, ex-Boyzone security. Still relatively undeterred, we went up to our rooms to tart ourselves up. I was wearing sparkly Jane Norman jeans that had cost me nearly my whole weekly student budget, and I think I was perfecting my eye makeup when one of my friends screamed. We'd been trying to keep an eye out the window at all times, and in the time we'd been looking away, a large purple tour bus had pulled up in the hotel car park. We were out of the door of our room and into the lift in an instant, but got down to the lobby just too late, seeing the backs of fit Irishmen as they disappeared into the party. My memory of this night has been addled somewhat by the substantial amounts of alcohol I consumed, but I think it was then that we decided to brass neck it and just walk in behind them. We only got a few steps before the nasty lady we'd met earlier got her eye on us and alerted security. This would not have hindered a lot of the followers, but we didn't wish to draw attention to ourselves, particularly not in front of Westlife, so we left quietly. We began to resign ourselves to the fact that if we wanted to see them, we were going to have to sit in the lobby and wait. This was a pet hate of ours. The girls who stayed in expensive hotels to see the guys and spent the whole day in reception, hardly seeing the inside of their room, let alone any of the leisure facilities that they'd paid for. But I, for one, wasn't going to have travelled all this way not to get to speak to them, and was definitely in support of any plan to glue ourselves to the lobby. However, when alcohol was mentioned, I was convinced to go to the bar, which was on another floor. Still trying to be discreet, we avoided all talk of boy bands, and I hadn't a clue what was going on when one of my friends just got up and walked off. She had seen something I hadn't, as the action was going on behind me. A waitress had taken a tray of 5 vodkas and 5 Red Bulls and walked towards the lift. Naturally, my friend had followed her, and when she noticed she was shaking slightly, said, "Are you all right?" The response was just what she'd hoped for when she noticed the number of drinks on the tray. "Just a bit excited because I'm taking these to Westlife." She got out at the 4th floor, and my friend came back a few minutes later to tell us the gossip. I decided to investigate further, having lost my inhibitions somewhat because of the alcohol. I walked along the 4th floor corridor and listened for any sounds. Near the end, I heard Irish accents and immediately freaked out and went back to my friends. But when we finished our drinks and decided to head up to our 5th floor rooms again, I thought it would be a good plan to press button 4 and see if I ran into my Irish guy this time. When the doors opened, 5 Irishmen greeted us, just not the 5 we were looking for. It was real. "Are you going up or down, ladies?" The girls tried to push me out of the lift, but I couldn't have spoken to them all by myself. So I murmured up and closed the doors on them. Of course, I immediately regretted this, as I decided they were a dead cert for getting us into the party, and Sarah and I got the next lift down, just too late to catch up with an Irish band. After another make-up touch-up in the room, we made the difficult decision to sit in the lobby and admit to the fact that we were fans too. Barely 10 minutes had passed when Mark came out of the party, accompanied by Paul just so nobody could get too close, looked right at me, recognised me, smiled and said hello before walking out the door. Well, that was it as far as I was concerned. I'd come all this way, been recognised by my favourite, and now he was gone, and I'd spent all my valuable money for nothing apart from a greeting. A combination of alcohol and tiredness hit me, and I went hysterical, running up to the room where I cried and cried. Now, looking back on this, my mate who doesn't want to be named in these videos is the most understanding friend in the world, because I'd gone hysterical on her about 5 months previously at a party in the park, and she'd forgiven me. And this time she came up to the room after me, calmed me down, and got me back down to the lobby with dry eyes before Mark reappeared. That's right, Mark wasn't going for the night after all. I got my crave as he stopped and said, "What are you doing up here?" And we chatted for a few minutes, much to Paul's annoyance. It was always in Mark's nature at that time to stop and talk to fans whenever they were there, even if his security didn't want him to. He then left to go into the party. Later, Shane came out, and as he would say, he was battered. It was about 1:30 a.m. by this time, and yet there were still girls outside, and they must have been absolutely freezing. He went out and signed for at least 10 minutes, which was very unusual for him, but then he was drunk. He chatted to us for a while too, and we begged him to do karaoke in the party, but he said it would just feel like working. 2 of my friends got photos with him. I've given the originals to them, so these are from the negatives. Somehow I didn't get any photos with the lads that night, but never mind. Another amusing sight was an argument between Kerry Katona and Louis Walsh, which Brian later attempted to join in, but to no avail. so it was clear to see who wore the trousers in that relationship. We heard the word engaged, and our ears perked up, as at that time the fact that they were going out had only just become common knowledge, and it was obvious Louis wanted to keep the fans well and truly in the dark about the latest developments in their relationship. And then, at about 3 a.m, for no apparent reason, the security let us in. We ended up dancing next to Mark to Better the Devil You Know. I'm horrified to think of how silly I probably looked doing it though. We tried to force Nicky, who was sitting at the same table as us, onto the dance floor too, but didn't succeed, as he was as drunk as Shane. One by one they left, with Cian last at about 5:30 in the morning. If you've ever wondered why they look so rough on the What Makes a Man single cover, it's because that was the photo shoot they then drove back to London for, and they probably had about 3 hours sleep at the most. And that was it, my most eventful Westlife night up until then. I have had more excitement with them since, but I'm not sure it was better than this time, which I'll remember forever as the time I got into an after-show party. Thanks for watching. I'll speak to you again next week. Bye for now.